Brilliance Audio presents High as the Waters Rise by Anja Kampmann, translated by Ann Poston, performed by Stefan Rudnicki. They followed the long lines in the asphalt. Mátyás walked on, and the wind from the rotor blades pressed their clothes to their bodies as if there were no weariness and no doubt, just the drone of the machine. And far away, beyond the airfield, he saw the white tip of a mole against which the waves beat, and way off in the distance broke in a great roaring light. The clouds had thickened that morning. A storm front from the Faroes had stopped over the Atlantic off the coast of Morocco, where the air had been heating up for days and weeks, and they lay tired on the long benches in the heliport, and knew nothing of it. The light of the Coke machine shimmered over the linoleum, and they had a long wait for the helicopter. It was the first time he'd seen the heliport of Sidi Ifni in anything other than the gray 5 o'clock light in which they'd departed on the other mornings. Before the sun had even risen, the waiting room had been full of men shoving their bags in front of them through security. The smell of coffee hung in the air, and no one said much. Some had landed in Rabat only that night, and then continued on south, and when they arrived, the ocean was still gray and wide, and the wind so strong that they happily went back into the little room to smoke, as if they were already on deck in the closed container, where the table and benches were screwed tight to the floor. Mátyás was kneeling next to Waclaw, looking for something in his bag, when the first helicopter finally landed, and men and more men came through the glass door, which silently opened and closed, its edges giving off a bluish gleam, like a precise blade. The men carried their bags on their shoulders. Some wore sunglasses, and their steps were heavy and cold in the glaring light of the waiting room. Waclaw knew only a few of them. They'd been drilling for 2 months, the Atlantic raging past them toward the North African continental shelf. They'd drilled through sandstone and basalt, 80 miles from the coast, for nothing but mud and rocks. The oil, if there were any, would lie very deep, they'd been told. But until something was found, the mood remained tense. The work seemed more laborious. It wasn't like in Mexico, in the Bay of Campeche, where all they'd had to do was stick more straws into the bulging bubble of oil, cantarell, to drink for a few years, like wasps feeding on the last rotting fruits of autumn.